that we did tonight was a resilient group. You can really tell that they were bought in. I mean, last night wasn't our great, but we didn't hold that over. We challenged them how they were going to respond. Are you going to learn from your mistakes? And tonight, everybody was phenomenal, and that's exactly what you want to see. The response was everything you could have written up, and they executed to a T. So I thought it was great.
Sure, and how important is that to do that? That's the first kind of little hiccup you had this year, to not let this slide, because you lose 2 games and then you go on a break. Who knows what's going to happen, right?
Well, when you look around, a lot of teams have had the same coaches and the same system and the same kind of culture and the same expectations. We're establishing that right now. We are building that right now, and the first sense of adversity, was it a test that we failed? Absolutely. We didn't handle the adversity well. 4 goals in the second period. We couldn't come back on it, but what we did was, hey, this is what to expect in our culture. This is how you respond, and we issued them a challenge, and I thought they rose to the challenge, and that's exactly what you're hoping for. So, for a young group to respond like that, it's encouraging, and we can often look back and say, hey, remember when things didn't go our way? This is how we responded, and that's something that we're going to expect going forward.
Sure. IceDogs had a really nice game for you tonight. He's played well this year. What's the difference between this year and last year?
I just think a commitment to buy-in, but generally, I mean, it's really tough to compare last year. There's a coach's change, and same thing. I mean, anybody that had been here, it's adjustment after adjustment every time you keep making changes, right? And now I think there's a comfortability from a lot of players starting to set in. Being behind the bench now, I think this was my 59th game, so almost a full season where they're starting to understand a lot of the things, the way we play, what are the expectations, how we keep everybody accountable, and, Asadorian, is an offensive guy and wants to focus on the points, but when you looked at his stats, he was a minus player, and we told him to focus on the 5-on-5 defensive habits that'll lead to offense, and he was +4 tonight. Outside of the 2 goals and 1 assist, which was great, it was the +4 stat that really had you trusting him on the defensive side, and that's where you want to see is turning offense from defense, and he was big in that department for us.
Sure. And if you have him scoring, down on a 3rd or 4th line or wherever he is, how important is that? Where you've got 2 lines scoring, and if you can get some offense from some other lines, that's huge, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you still look at it where Kevin scored and Rubric had 2 points and Loshko 3. I mean, your top line still factored in, but Galliano finally broke out. Had his first point, and Creeder had his first goal, and Doherty chipped in, and Asadorian 3 points, and Levin 2 assists, and it was a complete and total team effort from everybody tonight. First defensive goal of the season, so when we're not relying on the same line game in and game out, even though they did contribute, it was great to have a total and complete effort and see some guys get rewarded in that game.
Sure. And one other thing, in the 3rd period there, you had a lead, maybe backed up a little bit. What did you guys talk about trying to hold the lead in there in the 3rd period?
Well, it's understanding how to play, and when you look at Ottawa, and we were trying to preserve, we were on our heels, and we let them take 50 shots, and that was the first game in the season for us, and we got to learn from those moments. And a great defense is a really good offense. So when you keep pressing them and not allowing them to attack, and it's frustrating, I think that's what we had to do, and we learned by through our history right there. So it was a great adjustment.
Looked like you were talking to Rubric there in the 2nd period, really trying to get him locked in. What was the message you were trying to get to him in that moment?
Defense creates offense, and it's not the other way around where you cheat and you cheat and you cheat. You might get lucky every now and then, but really when you can play defense and go to offense, I mean that's the way you win as a group, and this is the things that we're trying to instill about how we're expected to play throughout the season. So Rubes is an unbelievable player with a high game sense IQ that really gets it. So when I'm talking to Rubes, a lot of them are just reminders of things that we've already talked about, and he's been a beast. I think he's had 3 straight multiple point games, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, the guy has been an absolute killer for us, and it's really fun to see. He's yet to even turn 17 right now. So, I mean, the quicker he gets those details in, quits cheating for offense, which, he hasn't really. A lot of the rush plays have come from defensive stands. This is a young star in the making in professional hockey, and he's really learning the right way to play. So it's just a lot of positive reaffirmation that he's doing the right things.
And you had to jumble up the lines tonight with Paris out, jumbled up a little bit of the forward lines, maybe sending a message to a couple of those guys you wanted to get going. You saw that tonight, and then you started the extra defenseman. Talk about what went into that situation going with the 7D tonight.
Well, I mean, essentially for us, anytime that we've gotten down, I mean, the home opener, we went with 11 forwards, and we played our top guys hard and hard. We didn't have a 3-and-3. We know we have 2 days off, so I mean, even shortening the bench up front, we wanted to go with our top 11 guys with experience rather than put, say, a Dianov in for the first time. And I even think DeWatcher just, helped out with, I think it was under 2 or 3 minutes, so it wasn't much. But our top 11, our top 6, we just kept playing them and rolling. And you talked about the role players, both Levin and Galyanov moved to the fourth line for the first time this season, and 3 points combined between the two of them is exactly how you want to see that type of team respond. So, as a group, up and down the lineup, everybody found a way to contribute, and that's a huge 2 points for us. And like I said, going into Thanksgiving weekend at the top of the conference, let alone division, I don't know if anybody had that on their bingo card at the start of the season, but we're happy we're there one way or the other, and we'll definitely take it.
Lastly, last night you talked about that not being your best effort, but when you look at it as a whole, coming out 5-1, as you mentioned, hitting a Thanksgiving break, what's the message to the guys now as they take a couple of days off, get back with family, but then get refocused for another big week next week and not getting too ahead of yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we learned our lesson of what it's like to keep the pedal down on the floor, because we got a little bit complacent. We thought it was going to come easy, especially scoring 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of last night's game, right? So we just hope that history doesn't repeat itself with our tendencies, and we learn from it. And this is a hungry team, and when it's going well, you want to keep it going well. So happy all these kids are starting to experience a little bit of success within the Niagara IceDogs organization. And there should be a lot of positive moments and a lot of fun stories over the dinner table this Thanksgiving weekend compared to years past. So it's something that we're pretty happy about.
Favorite dish on Thanksgiving?
To be honest, I'm not a turkey guy. I don't know if that's a popular decision, but if I could, I'd be a prime rib guy all day. So, give me the meat and the potatoes. I'm pretty simple. Just I got a little preference with what type of meat.
Thanks, Coach. See you next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.